I have a very fun topic today. Today, friends, I would like to talk to you about Dirty Lazy Keto and the holidays. So before I continue, I have to get my first prop out. So I have to get in the spirit. Here we go. I just picked this up yesterday. How cute is this? Is this not me or what? You know what? There's a lot of holidays coming up. It's not just Christmas. There's Thanksgiving. There's New Year's. There's different cultural holidays around the world. And no matter what you're celebrating, whether it's Halloween or just getting together with family, I think it can be a struggle at this time of year. You know, no matter what your faith is, holidays can be tricky because I think for most of us, no matter what type of faith we have or what holiday we're celebrating, I feel like most holidays are embedded with food, right? Like food is this huge part of holidays for most of us. And we all have traditions that we're used to. We have, family dishes that come up every year or just favorites that we're used to. And so I think it makes it a little trickier with Dirty Lazy Keto at the holidays. So I want to ask you a question before we start moving on. And I want to ask you, how do you feel right now about celebrating all the big holidays this year while on Dirty Lazy Keto? Like, how do you feel about it? Check in with yourself for a second. You can type in the comments if you want. How are you really honestly feeling about it? Because I think there might be a whole range of emotions going on in the group. I think in our community, some of you might be excited, like challenged by it. Like, oh yeah, I can do it. Bring it on. Bring on the holidays. You're all fired up. And then others might be feeling a little sense of loss or fear, especially if you've lost a lot of weight up until now and this might be your first holiday. It could be pretty scary. I think there can also be a little bit of sadness. Some folks might feel like they're missing out. There could be some resentfulness going on or even anger. Again, there is probably a whole host of different emotions and they're all normal. I just want to acknowledge that. I don't think you're alone in how you're feeling. There's other people that are in the same boat as you. So even if you feel like kind of guilty for feeling that way, I don't want you to. I think it's normal to have a whole range of emotions. I think it's normal to feel the way you're feeling, and that's okay. The key is really to acknowledge it and to say it out loud because you don't want it like eating away at you. And then maybe see, well, if I do feel this way, what could come about of this? Like, is this going to help me or is this going to hurt me? And that's really what I want to get into more today, because the good, the bad, the ugly, like no matter how we're feeling during the holidays, there might be some consequences to those actions. So I want to help you kind of wrap your head around what's going on, maybe inside, and give you some alternatives and just the ability to think it through maybe a few steps down the line. That way it doesn't surprise you come January. Sound like a good plan? Okay. All right, let's get started. Well, the technique I want to talk about today is called reframing. Should I smile? La 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 la. Reframing. I don't know if you've heard of this technique before, but in my life, this is a strategy that's been hugely helpful when I think about eating healthy and staying on Dirty Lazy Keto during the holidays. And I just want to maybe dive into why I think this is an effective strategy for you to think about using for the holidays. The truth is, if you're feeling one of those negative emotions like despair or guilt or sadness or anger or negativity, the truth is, if those just get away from you and you don't, take a look at what's going to happen with those, let's think about it. Come January, those thoughts, that negative mentality about the holidays, it might lead to actual consequences where you end up either possibly quitting, we don't want that, or going off the rails, gaining a lot of weight, feeling bad about yourself. Because that's, it could happen. Let's be honest. I think that when you have thoughts in your head, they tend to come true. At least that's the experience for me. If I'm thinking one way in a pattern over and over and over and over and again, over and over and over and over again, those feelings tend to warrant more action. And then all of a sudden I'm making my decisions based on these feelings that I didn't even think had that much control over me. So that's why I want to talk about reframing. So bear with me a little bit. I want you to be able to look at the holidays without thinking that it's a punishment. I want you to be able to reframe it in a way that being on dirty, lazy keto over the holidays is a blessing. So I have my work cut out for me. Do I? Okay. Let's get moving. So here's the deal. Step 1. I think it's pretty easy, for most of us anyway, to spot negativity around us. Like when you hear your friends or your family and they're like, oh, losing weight over the holidays, that's just stupid. It's impossible. Or they might say, I made this special holiday dish just for you. And this is your favorite sweet potatoes. And this is your favorite cheesecake. Of course you're going to have some. So there might be a lot of pressure and negativity coming at you from other people. I think it's a lot easier to identify when the negativity is on the outside. Do you guys agree? Because I can hear it, like when a friend or a family member is complaining or, criticizing or just being negative. It's like, wah, 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 wah. I can hear the alert. This is where it gets a little trickier. When I start saying those things inside my heart, like in my head. And this is where, when you start hearing those words, I want you to call I want you to call it what it is, right? Because when you start saying negative things to yourself, like, oh, I can't do this, or it's too hard, or it's not fair, or, I'll start again on Monday, or it'll only be this once, it'll only be this meal, it's only going to be, I'll pick it up again in January. Oh, I'm fine. Everything's great. Call the BS when you start to hear it. I know it's easier maybe to hear it from other people. Start there. Start identifying it when you hear it around you from family and friends. But then when you start hearing those same words and phrases repeated in your heart or in your head, this is where you really need to think about the poop pillow and calling it BS. Because that's the truth, right? We all know it is the truth. It is very difficult. I know, I'm so cheesy. It's very difficult to look in the mirror sometimes and admit to yourself, hey, I'm being negative. I'm the only person in my way. Because really, it's not your mom. It's not your mom's dinner that she made. It's not. That's about her. The way you're feeling and all that negativity, that's coming from you. This is something that you have to really check yourself. So I encourage you to, hold up the mirror, listen for those key phrases like I can't, or I won't, or I shouldn't have to. And when those are happening, that's when you really want to just call BS and get that BS meter out. Because that's where things go wrong, I think. We can lie to ourselves pretty easily. I know myself, and I shared some of these quotes in Dirty Lazy Keto, Get Started Losing Weight While Breaking All the Rules. And this is actually, I want to read a section to you on page 313, right here at the bottom. Because this is a big deal. I know everyone thinks, oh my gosh, we were talking about holidays. Stephanie's going to tell me what to eat. She's going to tell me how to fix all my food, and then I won't have any problem. Well, I disagree. I mean, yes, that's important. Yes, it's important to have those tools and those recipes in front of you. But if you don't have your mind right and you're not catching yourself when you're starting to go down that path of negativity, it's going to be really hard for you to choose the healthier foods, right? Because you'll just be off in some other la-la land. So let me take a look at page 313. I want to read at the bottom to you. And I talk about turning off that voice. And I call this destructive internal dialogue. It sounds very fancy. I made that up. It's basically when you start talking negatively to yourself and you are your worst enemy. So if you hear things like this is where I want you to, hold up the mirror and stop. I'll never be able to keep this weight off. I should just give up now. I still look fat. I'll never get to my goal weight. My husband said I look just fine. Oh, Now there's so much pressure to keep this weight off. Everyone is saying I look too skinny and I should just stop. Everyone keeps staring at me. This is too much work. It's too hard being the only one in my family eating this way. I need a break. I should be able to eat these foods like other people. That's a popular one, isn't it? This isn't working for me. Did any of those jump out at you? And I'm curious which one. Those are all things that I used to say to myself over, my lifetime before I lost 140 pounds. And I really had to check myself on those false beliefs, because the more I would think them in my head, the more I believed them. And they weren't true. They were not true at all. But every time I would say it to myself, it was like I was reinforcing it. And then suddenly my decisions, my behaviors, it would all start supporting those negative opinions. And then before you know it, I'm making bad choices. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's the truth. I think that if we can, I know I'm cheesy here, but you'll remember this. If you can reframe the holidays in a way where you're not thinking that you're feeling deprived or missing out, or that it's not fair that you're not eating these foods like everyone else, or it's too much work to create separate dishes. I think if you can reframe some of that language into a positive way, I think you're going to have a huge amount of success over the holidays. No matter what holiday it is, it can be your birthday, it can be your favorite holiday, 4th of July, Christmas, it doesn't matter. I think once you wrap your head around this concept, the doors open and you're free. Because if you believe and you've reframed the way you're looking at dirty, lazy keto and low carb eating, then you're excited about it. You feel passionate. You feel proud. You feel happy. You feel relief. The anxiety is gone. You don't have that stress about should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? It's like all that, the little devil and the, angel are off your shoulder. You can finally just be. So that's what I'm hoping this message hits you hard about. Pick up that poop pillow. I know I keep holding this up, but it's true. When you hear yourself saying those crazy notions about how you deserve to have this and it's not fair, think about that. Is it really? Or is that just a load of BS? Think about it. I want to encourage you to challenge yourself and to prove yourself wrong. We all have a different message inside. We all have something different that kind of rattles around and bothers us. So what one of those messages is going to be your issue this year? For me, when I was losing weight, it was really hard for me to address family members. I would go to a holiday dinner, didn't matter what holiday. It could be like Groundhog Day. And if they were serving food that wasn't quote unquote dirty, lazy keto, or food that I felt comfortable eating, I struggled with that. I didn't know how to handle it. And sometimes I would just sit there embarrassed. I didn't feel like I had the right to ask for something different. I didn't want people looking at me. I didn't want people asking me questions. I didn't want their advice. That was a big one. And it was really awkward. But I had to face the fact that if I didn't face it, if I didn't work on it, then I would never get past my problems. I would always be an overweight person. I would never be able to go to the next level if I couldn't articulate my feelings and stand up for myself. And it's awkward and it's hard and it's scary. I just want to put that out there. Holiday thinking, holiday foods, we'll talk about the foods in a second. But if you don't, like I said, have your mind in a place where you're feeling proud and embracing this lifestyle and believing that you're worth it, you can bring all the appetizers in the world and you still might not have the confidence to choose those. So that's why it's important, I think, to just stand back a little bit, and before you're getting out the holiday tree, just to start thinking, what is my hot button this year? What is it that I need to think about? Is your story more like mine, where you have to work on a relationship with a mother or a grandparent or your in-laws or your spouse? Or is it more something that's internal, where, you're feeling bad about yourself and doing a lot of negative self-talk? Because either way, you're going to have to like break through those barriers, call BS on those, and start practicing baby steps, little baby steps, on what you can do differently. So I don't know if I intended to be so like psychological today, but it's true. I do believe that with all my heart. I mean, I'm not here to waste your time. There's a reason why probably less than 0.5% of people on the planet have lost over 100 pounds. It's not about food. Should I say that again? There's a reason why people haven't lost this much weight on the planet. Like I have. There are a lot of people who have, but it's not about the food. It's very rare to lose weight and keep it off because most people assume it's about the food. They focus so much on the food, they never focus on themselves. They don't focus on that internal voice or the relationships with their in-laws, for example. And really, that's where the work has to start. If you put the work in and try to reframe the way you're thinking about holidays and reframe the way you're talking to yourself, I think you're going to see a totally different experience during the holidays. And you'll come out the other side feeling stronger, proud, and happy. I don't think anyone wants to put weight on over the holidays. I at least don't. I spent my whole life, decades of every year gaining, the same 10 to 15 pounds over the holidays, and then starting off January feeling horrible about myself. And I was just digging into a hole. And yes, I would say things like, I'll start in January, starting Monday, right? Like we've all done that. But when you're so overweight that 10 more pounds, 15 more pounds, 20 more pounds, starting over on Monday is not like it was when I was a teenager. My weight problem was so out of control that half of my entire body was fat. My BMI was, hovering around 50%. So it's not like I could just afford to keep tacking on another 10 or 15 pounds every holiday. For me, I needed to do something different. And I hope to be that person for you, to inspire you and to give you some tools about moving forward, because if you can replace your thoughts, you will replace your actions. They go together. Like, ooh. It's true though. If you can replace your thoughts, you will replace your actions. And even if you don't necessarily believe them, if you practice it enough times, the thoughts, the beliefs, the actions, they'll start solidifying and helping you become your new person, your new you. And this doesn't happen overnight. People often email me and they'll say, can I lose 60 pounds by June for my daughter's wedding? And I'm like, probably not, because it sounds like you're not interested in losing weight for you. It sounds like you're just picking a random holiday and trying to look good for a holiday, family reunion or a wedding. It's like, that's not what this is all about. For me, I'm not trying to advertise some kind of get skinny quick scheme. I want to help people make permanent, lifelong changes so that they can lose weight and keep it off forever in a healthy way. That is my goal. And if you can wrap your head around these holidays, right, and embrace low carb eating, dirty, lazy keto type foods as a benefit and a blessing, you're going to be taking steps in the right direction. You believe me? Now, I know I promised you a few things about food, so I want to go through a few things because I know you're excited. But these are things that help me. We talked about the food, obviously. Talking about I'm worth it. I'm worth the extra effort. I'm worth, going to the grocery store and buying some of my favorites. I love the Fage 5% yogurt. And it does cost a little more, but I love it. And it has like a larger serving size than some of the competitors. It's like 3/4 cup. And it's only, I have to put glasses on to read it. 5 net carbs. Look, I wrote on the top. Good trick, right? So I love that for breakfast. Another thing, if we're talking about food, because that's where most people are at when they're first starting. But when I go into the holidays, I think about if I'm looking at a bunch of different foods at a buffet or a special dinner, I think, oh my gosh, I get to eat sour cream. Hello. That's like amazing. Like, who gets to eat sour cream on a diet? For me, that's like a message I'll tell myself over and over again, and I get very excited about that. I don't know who else does, but I do. It's funny, when I was a lot younger, I was always told not to eat eggs. I was told they were, fattening and high in cholesterol and terrible for you. But now I eat eggs all the time. I love going to holiday meals and making deviled eggs, or just enjoying foods that were made with a lot of eggs. I think they taste really good. Always using real butter or full-fat cream cheese, like on vegetable dishes or desserts. It's amazing to me that I can keep 140 pounds off and eat butter. Like, really? Like, how is this possible? So do you hear how I'm reframing that? Instead of me saying, oh, I can't eat gingerbread, the gingerbread house with my kids, instead I'm talking about, oh my gosh, I just made a delicious mug of real hot chocolate using a little bit of heavy whipped cream and some sweetener. And I'm having the most delicious cup of hot chocolate I've ever had in my life. Like, better than Starbucks. Do you see how this works? I'm replacing that negativity and that criticism about a lifestyle, and I'm replacing it and reframing it in a way that gets me feeling excited. And I know that I can eat fun things at the holidays, like salami or olives. This is another thing I was taught growing up. Stay away from olives, they're so fattening. Like, really? I didn't have olives my entire childhood. And that reminds me too, like bacon? Seriously? We are eating bacon and losing weight, folks. This is a dirty, lazy keto miracle. Can I have a cheers to that one? Seriously, when you start refocusing yourself and thinking about the benefits of this lifestyle of eating like higher fat foods and being able to, with dirty keto, you're able to have delicious sugar substitutes. So I don't miss out on anything. I make low carb substitutes for all of my favorite. I use foods like Chalk Zero. I use Lakanto sugar-free sweeteners and others. I use all the different brands. I enjoy chocolates like Lily's. I'm not trying to eat clean 24/7. I'm living my life. I'm indulging. I feel amazing. And I want to hold this up too. Let's not forget about hard alcohol. That is 0 grams of net carb per, I think it's 1.5 ounce shot serving. That's fantastic. I mean, so many diets or whatever you call them, they restrict all these fun ingredients. They don't want you having sugar-free sweeteners or alcohol or, anything delicious. Those are the people that like won't let you have any low carb ice cream. I mean, who wants those people at their party? I do not. Like, for me, being able to eat this way makes me feel delicious. I feel scandalous. I feel like it's an adventure. There's nothing that you can't tell me that would make me feel bad. I mean, I've been doing this so long, I am just 100% convinced. Like, for me, if someone was to say, oh, that's so terrible, you can't have XYZ elemental P, I'd be like, I'm not going to get diabetes. I don't want, diabetes and giving myself, insulin shots. That's horrible to me. Or not being able to play outside with my kids or run up and down the stairs. That, to me, would feel horrible. Like missing out on a gingerbread cookie. Reframing it, right? That's the key. I want to leave you with one special holiday recipe. It is free. It's in the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook. And it is free online. And it's like a video. And it teaches you how to make the penny saver peanut butter pie. Like, if you are seriously grumpy about Dirty Lazy Keto, you should make this. Because then you'll be like, okay, I'm not grumpy anymore. Like, I'm eating peanut butter pie on a holiday. Like, seriously? This is page 178, and I can put the link too in our notes. because that's a free video. It teaches you how to make it. It's super simple with just a handful of ingredients. So I hope that helps get you more fired up, get you excited about the holidays. Are you feeling better now than maybe before? I hope so. And I'd like to know your tricks as well. Like in the comments, please type in what you're doing to help yourself get through the holidays. You know, are you excited about it? What strategies have you decided to put into place? What activities will you be doing maybe differently this year? And I think that if enough of us share and look at each other's ideas, we'll find a way to reframe the holidays, because that's our plan. Reframe it in a way that's positive and healthy so we can all start January at the top of our game and feeling amazing. That's it. I just wanted to say thank you for listening. I appreciate your support. This is a community, Dirty Lazy Keto. We have to help each other. We're in this together, my friends. It's not easy, is it? We gotta support one another. So if you found today's video to be helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and then subscribe to the Dirty Lazy Keto YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications so you'll never miss an update. You can also find me on Instagram at Dirty Lazy Keto. And for more information about any of my support groups or any of my books, you can always go to dirtylazyketo.com for more information. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help. I know you can do it.